I'm about to torpedo any semblance of critical credibility I may have had left with an enthusiastic endorsement of a film that came out earlier this week called the Banana Splits movie. Yes, you heard that right. Now, before we get into it, I would like to ask you to please smash that subscribe button, share this content, leave a comment, like the video. It really does help the algorithm and grow the channel. Now, you may think that the Banana Splits is a property that, it's like half a century old and it's really scraping the bottom of the barrel to resurrect this as a film or a new TV show. And you'd be right, which is why I really appreciate what director Danishka Esterhazy has done with this particular movie. She's turned it from a beloved, nostalgic kids show into a brutal slasher movie, a horror comedy about a kids show that goes horribly awry. Much like the Child's Play remake from earlier this year, the Banana Splits movie centers on these animatronic creatures, these sort of rock-afire explosion, if you remember the old Chuck E. Cheese Showbiz Pizza days, an animatronic band that is part of a kids variety TV show, sort of a cross between Pee-wee's Playhouse and Double Dare. There's a live studio audience with enthusiastic kids and parents who want to be anywhere else but there, with skits and games, the audience participation, that whole thing. Well, in the reality of this movie, the Banana Splits never went off the air. It is waning in popularity for sure, but it still has excited little crowds that show up every Saturday whenever they would tape it to be part of the series. Now, when we open, the show, unbeknownst to the audience or even many people who work on the show, is on the verge of being canceled. You've got a recently promoted jerk who decides he's going to axe this show in favor of content that is going to draw in more ratings, stuff that's edgier, I think is the term he uses. So he tells the producer, and the producer is freaking out. She starts drinking heavily. The news does not sit well with the cantankerous old engineer who created the creatures and who programs them. Something goes wrong, and after the taping of one afternoon, the beloved elephant and the lion, I think there's a dog. Again, this series, the original series, is a bit before my time, so I'm not that familiar with who all is in this movie, or certainly not their names. But they go on a killing spree. Everybody is fair game, from the staff to the parents. I won't say exactly what happens to the children, but it's not pretty. You don't go to see the Banana Splits movie for the plot, although I won't give too much more away, because this is the kind of thing that you go to for the kills. It reminds me of those sort of 90s video store horror movies, not the ones that were marquee enough to be in a theater, but you'd go to check out the latest new releases on Friday or Saturday night and go to the horror section, and there'd be these kind of off-brand slasher movies that just have really creative practical effects kills, and that's why you watch them, a perfect sleepover film. And that's what the Banana Splits movie is, but it is a bit more than that, and I was very surprised to see that as far as character development and certainly acting. Now, the acting is not uniformly wonderful, but the lead actress, a woman named Danny Kind, is pretty phenomenal. I've never seen her before, but I definitely want to look her up and follow her work. She plays a woman who might as well be a single mom, because she's following around a teenage son and sort of an 8-year-old boy who's been awarded a trip to the Banana Splits taping as part of his birthday present, but she's married to a guy named Mitch, who's constantly on his phone. He's not really nice to his children, and he's constantly sneaking away to text the people at the office. So things don't end up too well for that family, or for Mitch, thankfully. But Danny Kind, she is an older woman, which, I'm approaching middle age, so this is not some kind of a slam. But in these types of movies, particularly in these slasher gore style films, the heroine is a buxom 20-something who ends up running around in a tank top wielding machete. That's not the case here. The Banana Splits movie focuses on a mom, which is very cool to see. There's a level of maturity. The script treats her with respect, and you really do end up pulling for her pretty much right off the bat and throughout the film. Some of the other tropes that they play with, and I won't get into everything here because there's a lot to discover in the Banana Splits movie beyond the trailer, which is so good that a friend of mine bought the movie on Blu-ray sight unseen. He pre-ordered it because he was that impressed, and he actually gave me the digital code to watch it, which is how I was able to see it. So thank you, Bill. But I won't get into too many of the surprises because there are some really cool kills, some neat little plot twists. But one thing I do want to highlight, because you may miss it, typically in these movies, as I mentioned, there's the final girl who ends up in the tank top. She starts off fully clothed, but through the course of events as she's being chased and stalked and narrowly escaping death, it's revealed that underneath all this clothing she has a tank top, which ends up sweaty and clingy and drenched in blood. It's typically not the same color at the end of the movie as it was in the beginning. Well, in the Banana Splits movie, Danny is wearing a tank top, and it is revealed to us in a manner that is so over the top and so knowing that it's a terrific, almost a sight gag. And there's a double layer to it, which is that the tank top is already blood red. So I appreciated that. And the creators of this movie know what they're dealing with. It's not quite Sharknado in being so cheesy as to be only enjoyable ironically. You can legitimately sit down and watch this as a horror comedy. But there's some time and craftsmanship put into the storytelling, certainly into the set design. Some of the old sets that they come across behind the scenes that they have to hide in, and which end up figuring into the deaths of more than a couple of the characters, are really inventive and impressive. I would watch a show that had, particularly there's sort of a magic shop set with these really cool playing card arches happening. Yeah, this is the kind of film where you watch it and you just want to run out and see if the new issue of Fangoria has a feature on it. Not only for the gore effects, but also the props and the set making, because they really cared about making a legit movie. So yeah, no one is more surprised than I am that I really enjoy the Banana Splits movie unironically. So I recommend renting it or buying it. I would say if you're sort of on the wavelength of movies like this, you can safely buy the Blu-ray and you will not be returning it to the secondhand store after you watch it. So yeah, check it out. You can, I think, rent it on Amazon, or you can buy it on Amazon. You can get it a lot of places. I think I read something about how it might pop up on the Sci-Fi Channel later this year. I don't know if that's true. I'd be a bit surprised because this is a hardcore R-rated, blood fest. So it might be edited to appear on television. But yeah, Banana Splits movie. Who knew? Spoiler-ish, they do set it up for a sequel, which I really don't need to see, but I do want to see more movies like this, things that, I'm going to use that phrase, subvert expectations by taking a property that you thought was long dead and resurrecting it in a form that pays homage to what people love about it, but also cast this harsh new light on it to make it new millennium entertainment, if I dare say so. So that's the Banana Splits movie. Check it out. Thank you for watching this review of it, and until next time, whenever that is, whatever that is, thanks very much for watching the Kicking the Seat YouTube channel, and take care.